In this video, we're going to talk about the use and functions of blocks in D.com. Blocks allow you to create reusable content, which you can place in different pages of your project by simply inserting them. Common block use cases include buttons, footers, headers, navigation menus, and image galleries. In this video, we'll cover creating blocks, block variables, using and implementing blocks. There are two ways of creating a block. First, you can create an empty block from the worksheet, or you can convert an existing element into a block. We will start with the first method, creating a block from scratch from the worksheet. We go to the worksheet, click on the plus sign to create a new block, and we assign a name to it. As you can see, we have created the empty block to which we can assign elements. Now, we'll discuss the second method, converting an existing element into a block. As a first step, select the element that we're going to turn into a block. In this example, we are going to create a block from a footer that we want to reuse throughout our site. We go to the command palette with our cursor or by hitting Ctrl-K on a PC or Command-K on a Mac. Inside the command palette, we type Create Block and click or press Enter on the option Create Block From. There is a different way to create a block from an existing element. For this, you click on the three-line icon that our element has on the right side, and we can see the option to create a block. We click on it, and the block will be created. We can add and edit elements the same way we add and edit elements inside a page. The most important thing about blocks is to set up or define which parts of them are going to be variables. Now, let's talk about block variables. Variables allow us to customize certain sections of our content or block style. We configure those, then assign variables to those cells we want to customize. We'll begin with the variable setup. In the block editor, click the purple Set Variables button in the bottom right corner. This is where you can add and edit variable names and default values. When you add a variable, it needs a name. Variable names can be whatever you like, except they cannot contain any special characters, including spaces. Our recommendation is to name the variables with a descriptive text, but starting each word with a cap. Variables don't need a default value. However, when building with variables, it is helpful to see the text, image, or style that the variable is associated with. The default value will only be shown if the block is not given a value for that variable when used on a page. We find it extremely useful to be able to identify the text, image, or style that each variable is associated with. When we're done creating the variables, click back to Edit to close the variable editor. Now, we're going to assign the variables we've created. After setting up variables, you need to connect them to the appropriate cells within our block. We will go to the cell that we want to connect a variable to, searching by typing the variable name in the command palette. As we type the name, we already can see the different variable suggestions. We'll choose the variable from the list, or we can create a new one. When we create a new variable, it doesn't have any default value. By doing this, we added variables to the home text. Using the same steps, we will add it to the rest of the text fields. Here, we have set up a link with variables to control the text, URL, and background color. We can also add more variables for other properties, such as the variable to change the text, to change the logo image that's shown in the footer, and the variables for all the social media icons and URLs with their links to their profiles. These can be customized as we need to. Now that we've assigned the variables, we have our block ready. We only need to add the block to the page that we want to display it in. To add a block to a page, we will go to the page and look for the block from the Elements column. We can see that it has been implemented. We can click Save. To give the block's variables a value, click on it in the Element column. You'll see that the style grid changes to show up the block's variables that you've already set before. In this section, we have the option to modify the variables to our needs. When we use a block in a page and edit their variable values, these are only updated on that specific block in that page. When we add the block to a new page, we can modify that second block variables as needed without altering the previous one. Another tip is that you can add these blocks multiple times in one single page, and their variables are modified individually. You can see now that the footer has all the block elements, the logo, social media icons, and their links. Thank you for joining us using blocks on D.com. You can like this video and follow our channel to get more D.com tips.